All right. Good morning and welcome to the Chirping in the Park. Blech. Well, good morning and welcome to the Chirping in the Park podcast. It's very rainy today, very cloudy. There's lots of birds out though. There's about 7 or 8 blackbirds.
Blackbird
season and parakeet season. They're the colourful ones. They're usually noisy and they're pretty squawky. Can't hear any at the moment.
We don't really get the magpies on this side of the park.
No, they're always at the field for some reason.
Spying on people.
Yeah. Anyway, to continue our theme of something from the collection and something off the workbench, I've brought something from the collection and Lena's got something from the workbench. So I'll show off my piece and then you can talk about your stuff if you want. So today I've brought a French knife called a Douk-douk. This is a little folding knife. I'll show you what it looks like. This is a really thin and slim profile folding knife. It's probably no thicker than maybe 6-7 millimeters thick. And this was given to me by a friend. He went to Amsterdam and purchased a couple of these for very cheap. You can get them for, I don't know, 8 or 9 euros now. They're pretty cheap. It's about 20 odd bucks will set you back a nice little folding knife. And for a long period of time, this used to be what I'd keep on my attached to my keys. This would be my everyday carry if you want to use it that way. And he's great. I don't know if you can see, but it's got like a little man. He's great. He looks so silly.
Jumped out of the bushes just to get you.
Yeah. So and it's got a little ring on it, which is pretty worn now from use. I don't use it as often now because I've made a copy of this knife, and I now keep the copy on my key ring. But yeah, this knife is really cool. It's got a really nice mechanism to it. So it's basically a sort of, I think they're called a slip joint knife, and they lock into that extended position, but it doesn't have a locking, so it can still fold on you if you were using it. So sort of the same as a Swiss Army knife, probably the best way to describe it.
Yeah.
Blade's pretty old and a little bit tarnished, but that's okay. I've had it for about 12 years now, so quite a while.
Wow.
But the locking mechanism is pretty snappy. I don't know if you can hear that on the camera. Yeah, it's great. So it's still from the factory, same snappiness from when I got it.
It was almost impossible to open and close when
it's
when
actually
Shay
freed
first
up
got
a bit
it.
now. Yeah.
He'd be like, "Grab my pocket knife." I'm like, "You can open that." I'm not risking my fingers.
I might hurt myself doing this.
So many pocket knives. I'm like, pass it to Shay. Don't have the finger strength.
Yeah. So they're sort of they've got a little spring. It's very hard to see the spring because it's hidden behind this bent round sheet of metal. The best way to maybe compare this to something would be similar to like a Higo Nakami knife, the Japanese knife, but they're just a friction folder, a little tab on them. But this is different because it's still got the spring mechanism hiding behind the bent material. It's very hard to see inside there. But the spring sits inside that space. There's a curved spring, and then it locks into this little square portion here like that. Incredibly simple design, and I think that's the beauty of it, is I absolutely love simple things that work well, and this knife is really in that top end category. Now this blade shape's not my favorite at all. I've been tempted about maybe modifying it. Little chip in the blade, we'll fix that. But the tip's pretty, I don't know, a bit nasty, a bit pointy, stabby. I prefer something more like a pocket knife that's like a, I don't know, like a Stanley knife or a craft knife blade, something more functional. But I haven't modified this knife to keep it in its preserved state, really, mainly for not changing it, keeping it as it is. But yeah, the mechanism's pretty cool, and that's my piece to show off. And it was a cool gift. Friend just went, here you go, and have this. And yeah, it's a cool knife. It's really roughly finished. I find that even the bevel here is on a slant where they've filed it or cut it from a sheet. It really doesn't look very precise, but it has such a nice snappy mechanism to it. And
It just does the job.
it just does the job.
Yeah.
So I really like that about things like that. And
Cut this.
oh yeah, sure.
Show you there.
About there?
Oh, it's been in your pocket.
Oh, no, that's all good.
Needs a
Sharpen it.
tiny tidy up.
I didn't really have a lot of give on that.
Yeah. Cutting string in the air.
Yeah. So anyway, it's a cool knife. My favourite, and one of my favourites for sure. A lot of people ask me, "Oh, what's my favourite folding knife?" And I'm like, "This is probably it." And how thin it is. It sits so thin, especially when it's in your pocket. You don't really notice it as much. It's almost as thin as a key. Whereas the alternative would be like a Swiss Army knife on a lanyard.
They're
and
chunky.
as nice and as fantastic as Swiss Army knives are, they're really the most popular knife ever, really. They're just so bulky, and they really sit in your pocket, and you can feel it. You know, it's in your trousers, so it can be a little bit less fun.
Your keychain's already pretty bulky, so.
Yeah, I got all sorts on my keychain, but yeah. So something slim, Douk-douk. You should look them up if you're looking at a pocket knife. It's an alternative to like a Mokau or a Opinel or something like that. So yeah, these don't really get talked about enough. So yeah, he's a cool knife.
It's very cool.
Yeah. Put him on the table. All right, playing around with string.
Playing around with string. So this piece, I haven't done a lot of work on. It is I don't know if you guys would have seen one of these before. This is the top platelet on a whale vertebrae. It's pretty thin. It's about we're about 8 mil on this side down to 5 in some areas. And this is how I received it. I think Gareth Barlow gave it to me.
Gareth Barlow gave it to you,
at
yeah.
the last Mokau carving symposium. And it's such a cool piece as it is. I didn't want to change much to it. It's just going to be a big breastplate piece that I'll keep for our collection. I've done a little bit of relief work on the back, kind of mollusky, bit butthole, but I just did it kind of looks like that when you look too close. There was already a hole in the midpoint, and I've done this texture on quite a few of my pieces. Just when you isolate it, it looks a little bit silly, but I like how it came out. I lightly polished just this area, so the section in the middle is smooth, and then this is sort of a different texture, and then this is just as it was on the surface there. Very cool. And I was going to do it on camera, but we had some technical difficulties, but I've been putting the binding on across the top there. I got all the way to the end and I realised I hadn't put a pull cord through here, so I'll have to undo it all again. But that's okay. It didn't take me too long, probably 15, 20 minutes to do it.
Took me as long as the camera decided to muck around with me today. So looking at you specifically, 20 minutes of faffing, making sure the microphone was connected. Anyway.
Was putting up a fight
today.
Giving us colour codes that were not correct.
Yep.
Anyway, I thought I would show you off this and then very briefly go over the type of binding that I'm using. I've forgotten the name this morning, as these things go. It's a morning. But this is kind of like an alternating loop through. So you take your piece of cord, you put it through one side, you bring it out the other, and then you tuck it underneath the original line, and then create a loop and go back again through the original hole, come back, and then it alternates this kind of, it's going to look like macrame, alternating weave across the top. It's not a complicated binding. It takes a little bit of coordination practice. I think the hardest part is getting it started whenever you're doing these, and that's why I have a piece of tape. When I start at this side, I always tape right next to that area so that I can get all the pieces through. And then move to the next one, because the way that you're starting it, you have one piece of cord, so this is the end of the piece of cord, and you'd normally have your pull cord sitting there as well in line with the main bit that will be wearable, so they sit in line along the top, and then I tape them in position, and then your cord has to go through and you have to pull it to start, but if you've got nothing to pull it against when you're beginning, so it just wants to move. So taping it and then working in those sections so everything doesn't unravel is really useful.
It's a really cool piece. I think it's just something you don't really think about, and I think the sheer size of the whale is something kind of crazy about the piece.
Yeah, this is probably not even a big vertebrae.
No, it's probably...
We saw one at Mike Brown's place, and it was massive. The vertebrae is like this
Huge.
big. The scale of whales is just something that
Scale of whales.
you forget to comprehend.
That's the title.
Yeah. The scale of whales. But also the poor, like if you haven't worked with whalebone or like held it, pieces made from it, the porosity of whalebone is so interesting.
Yeah.
This is so light. If this was bone, like beef bone, there would be 2-3 times the weight probably, but this material is so porous. It completely different. Probably weighs just over maybe 100 grams.
Yeah.
It's very light.
Yeah, it's a very... you think of bone as a very dense material sometimes, like especially beef bone and other things, whereas this becomes a interesting optical illusion, sort of looking at it going, oh, well, that'll weigh heaps.
Yeah.
And then you go, oh, hang on,
Yeah.
that weighs nothing.
Why it's appealing to me to have as a breastplate piece as well, because I love big breastplate pieces. I see a lot of people wear them. Like we have, there's one family that always comes to the Mokau Carving Symposium every year, and they have all these massive breastplates every time they come through on their...
Half of them are bone or jade.
Yeah, the jade ones must be so heavy. Like they're thick as well. They're not like 2 or 3 mil. They are like 5, 6 in the middle.
I mean, you have to have them that thick, I
Yeah,
guess.
well, you don't want it to break, but wearing that, I am not built for that.
Impressive, cool pieces.
They're amazing. But I could wear this because it's not. It looks physically weighty, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's a lot nicer weight to wear. And I just thought it was cool. And like, who wouldn't want to own a piece like this?
Yeah.
So cool. I don't have the opportunity to work with material like this very often. It's not something I seek out. I use a lot of things people give me, or
things
materials
you've
that
just
are...
found yourself. I think there's always that thing where you receive material and you're like, okay, I'll make a carving from that, but you may not like it. Whereas you actively look out for materials you want to carve and like. So I think that's a bit of a difference there.
Generally, I mean, sometimes we buy specific materials for specific projects, but a lot of the time I will acquire a material and then decide the project from there. Or the pieces that if I'm given something, excluding this, a lot of the time they are byproducts of something else. So a lot of we have a large amount of deer antler. If you've been to our workshop, there's a bunch on the floor that was given to us recently. There is like 10 pointers on top of the grinding room, which was from someone else, and then I have some in my area. That's sort of 3 separate loads of things that have been given to us. Our original stash of antler was from way back in like 2013 when we did a trade with someone who traded a knife for antler.
A few knives,
Yeah, with someone who ran a deer farm. So
it was Jason,
it was already a byproduct for him. He was selling venison, selling the deer velvet, and then I think he was
doing dog chews as well.
Dog chews out of the deer antler as well.
Anything.
Which dog chews out of deer antler, $30 from the supermarket for a little piece of deer antler. Bloody hell.
Ironically, the supermarket, our tenant neighbours next door, they're a supermarket. And we saw them in the supermarket just selling
expensive
$30 pieces of antler. We're like, oh gosh, there's a market for that. We've got like, I don't know, a couple of hundred of those.
Yeah, I could make some good money, but I'm not going to.
It was just funny, just like
very expensive. But I guess if you wanted to have a go with antler and you didn't have a connection, it is a way to go. Go get a dog chew from the supermarket. Just look for a piece with a nice thick wall of material and you're good to go.
Yep.
But yeah, and then our second lot of antler was
we got some from Carrie as well.
Carrie. Yeah. She received, I think a friend passed away and they left a bunch of things to her, and some of it was a lot of deer, like the deer was to be mounted as trophies but it never had been, so there was big pointers still attached to skulls, and there were a few deer skins and things like that. And she just
Few
showed
pelts,
up
yeah.
with like a wool fadge full of these and left them with us. And then we went through, we were like, yeah, we'll take the antler. We went through and we found all the deer skins and we're like, oh, we should probably call her and like she might want these because they're a little bit outside of the realm. So we called her and gave half of those back. Although we have
two of them still.
One of them is the bit for the taxidermy. So they've prepped the head, but it's just a skin. Like you've skinned the deer head, nose and everything, eye holes. And she didn't want it. Understandably, not her thing. But we kept it, and Shay used it for a Halloween prop one time, and it was terrifying. The children were scared. But just one of those random things. And they actually live in the workshop because they shed everywhere. Like the fur is constantly
It's easy
falling out.
you could just drape them over your like working chair or something, and you just got like something sort of nice and warm to sit against. But half the time the fur just gets attached to you, and you're like, okay, great.
Yeah, the flatter, like the main skin one, that one's alright, but it just gets at everything. I don't know how you stop that.
I'm sure there's a way to treat it so it doesn't.
Possibly.
People have fur coats. Maybe it's just how it goes. Just the fur eventually sheds.
Maybe it wasn't fully tanned or whatever
I don't know enough about it.
Yeah.
It's
Anyway,
cool though.
That one. So that's some of the stuff that's still in the mezzanine, and then there's a bag on the floor that Steph and Gareth dropped off a couple of months ago.
Oh yeah, we got given
some big thick sections of pieces that aren't. Some of them were straight for handles, but most of them are like wapiti, so they're quite thick, which we haven't worked out what we're doing with yet. They're just an obstruction on the floor that she keeps tripping over because I keep taking them all out of the bag to look at them and not put them back.
I mean, it's not just you. Other people go, oh, what's in this bag? And they're like, oh, can I have this? And I'm like, can you get out of the bag, please? It's not your bag.
Yeah, but a lot of those pieces, like, we did not actively go and hunt things.
No.
People give them to us as a byproduct. Occasionally people will bring stuff in like that into the workshop as well. We end up with timber and steel.
I should actually make contact with the Deer Stalkers Club and see if they've got any antler and stuff.
Yeah, some more crowns would be good.
Yeah.
Antler crowns are the button section that connects the...
Has a similar texture to this where it's sort of slightly attached to...
a lot more dense though.
The cranium where it rips off. Or it's like tears, kind of like an apple when you rip it kind of thing.
Yeah, it's kind of like an open socket, and it's like this kind of texture, and you have the two sides that sit together and then they pop off when they drop their antlers at the end of the season. And they...
they're all, but just to put that out there, they're an object that falls off of the creature. It's kind of like when you shed hair, it doesn't get removed from the creature like when you like hunt it or something. 9 times out of 10 you find them
they're just
on the ground.
Separate piece.
They're
not attached to things often.
Yeah.
And that's like one of those
they're
things.
just a byproduct of nature shedding,
It's a conversation we've had a few times with people trying to be more ethically conscious around products that they're sourcing, and like.
I mean, it's the most ethical material you could source technically.
Yeah, I mean, especially if it's just wild game that have dropped them. Like it's literally just a waste product to them. They're going to regrow it again next season. Yeah. They weren't injured when you collected it.
Yeah.
Not all pieces are. Some of them, that if people have hunted it, then you get the crown still attached, but most of the time the crowns that I'm using are separate. I think Owen gave me a bunch as well of chunky ones, which I've been working my way through. So all the materials, a little bit of a ramble there, but that's the kind of stuff that we talk about at the carving symposium, and then that's also a good place to be exposed to different materials and different ways of working with people. I don't have it on today, but you guys may have seen me in my Mokau bone carving hoodie that we got from the last event.
You probably had it on at some point.
Yeah, I had it on last.
The hoodie was great.
The hoodie is good.
I acquired that.
For those who haven't seen our posts about it, the carving symposium is a yearly event that's held on Easter every year, and
which is in Mokau, which is north of Taranaki. I think it's technically in the Waitomo region, but it's Taranaki, Waitomo kind of area.
Yeah,
it's a bit of a drive it's about 6 hours drive from where we are.
What's that? Urutu is the closest town area, I think. It's near the Three Sisters, if you know where that is. Just a little town. They got a museum. They got a chip shop. They got
The community hall,
Yeah, we got a community hall.
which is where the carving
and then
symposium
there's
gets held.
one little like junk shop and then sort of bits and pieces dairy sort of shop.
It's a very drive-through. A town would be a generous name for it. It's like a drive-through stop point, really.
Yeah, but they got public bathrooms, so if you're heading through that way, everybody stops on their Easter travels because
you do.
Because you want to stretch your legs and use the loo.
Yeah.
So Easter weekend, we usually head up there. We try and get there every year, but doesn't always work. And I'm on the planning committee.
The company. Our company is a sponsor of that. But
Yeah.
of that community event. So
we try and hook them up with some sandpaper and recommend abrasives and things like that.
And I usually bring up a couple of really good, they're good for people that haven't used a machine before, but I bring up the nice belt grinders we have, the 2x48s, so they're great.
Yeah, so we bring some gear up to bulk out. They do have some equipment now. I think they've got 3 sanders, but they're like the tool line wide belt ones.
One of the bandsaws died during
we've got 3 now, so that helps.
Yeah.
Before we only had 1, and it would die every year, and we're trying to second day, and
So
you're like,
sad.
oh.
Yeah.
But no, we survived last year because we had 3 of them, which was good. And the event is really cool. So it's open. Well, I think we have around 60 people in that hall for the 4 days, which is pretty cool. This year we went early to help set up, which was cool. So we helped Marty Winchcombe. He is a bone carver based in Wanganui, and he volunteered for setup. You should go check his stuff out. I'll put a link to his work in the description as well. And I'll just link a bunch of carvers in this one as we're talking about it. Marty's really cool. We had quite a few others, I think, got there early to help set up. So we set the hall up, and then Marty was running the beginners class. So we have, because the group it's open to people, often people attend one year and then they'll bring a friend the next year. And Marty does first session is the Saturday morning, I think, for the beginners. They go out, he's got some worksheets, he runs them through all of the equipment, how to use it safely, and they all plan a very simple piece to start with, just a round or like a teardrop bone carving, plan out where the hole's going to be, plan out a little bit of detail, and then that's their first project, is to finish that. And then once they finish that, then they can start creating something more complicated and using the tools independently, which is really cool.
Yeah, it's really exciting, taking them through the process and letting them have a bit of creative control over the process. But the plan is that they complete the project. I think that's the big one.
Yeah.
And in other times they've had people start a really, really complicated carving because they've seen it and they want to replicate that, but having Marty make them go through the process gives them that full idea of you should complete something before you move on to something else.
Yeah.
And it's a bit of discipline with that. I think that's
Marty
important.
is very structured in the way he teaches. He's good at that. I think a lot of the people for the event, it can be quite loose, so you need
It can be loose and overstimulating at the same time.
Yeah, you need a few people that are reinforcing the structure.
Yeah.
Marty's really good at that with the way he works. His work is very intentional, very clean, and he is pretty prolific with the amount of stuff he produces. I think he also teaches classes in Wanganui, so if you're looking at getting into bone carving, you should check him out in Wanganui.
Yeah.
He does the markets. Occasionally he comes to Wellington for markets as well. We've seen him at Brewtown a few times, which is really cool. So beginners running through that. Shay and I usually kind of jump between things. So Shay was helping with beginners, just checking on people on the machines this time. And we were both, the other side of it is it's a chance for the people to come and make in that space. So the intermediate and advanced carvers are generally working on their own pieces over the 4 days, sitting at the table carving, chatting away. A few people will have stuff out to sell, which is always cool, a few bits and pieces on the table. Owen Mapp always has a well-stocked table of things, so he's a great inspiration to have his. I think he had 3 tables this time full of carvings, which is always cool for the newbies to see, get inspired. Often Fumio and
Kyohai.
Kyohei and Steve Mera are there. What's Fumio's last name?
Noguchi.
Yeah. There are other very well established carvers.
Noguchi, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a U in it. Yeah, anyway.
But they couldn't make it this year. So
I think they'll be coming, like,
hopefully
they're planning
next
on
year.
coming, like, sort of bi-yearly or whatever.
Yeah,
like,
it's just a really
whatever,
cool
not bi-yearly.
event to mix, getting access to these people that have been doing it for 30, 40 years. There's not really any other events like it in the country. The organizer, Mike Brown, has done an amazing job of bringing all of these people together and creating a really open and supportive learning space.
Yeah.
You're not doing any particular style. It's really based on your interest. We go through the skills. We do these little master classes where we'll do a breakout twice on the Saturday, we did once on Sunday this time, and we'll have 3 or 4 sessions running, and we'll do different skills. So Shay did tool making and knife sharpening, or tool sharpening. Sean did some carving, like planning your 3D forms, like finetsuke, sculptural carving. Ricky was talking about tooling. Marty covered toki binding, I think, which he's really good at. It makes people practice, do it, undo it, do it, undo it. The other Sean was talking about power eye inlay. What was the other? And Owen was talking about bone carving design and creating your own sort of style and planning pieces out. So there's a really good range of different things that, as a beginner or an intermediate, that you can go and learn from people and pick up some information and then go away straight after that talk and try and implement it into your work.
Yeah.
So it's a really cool thing.
Yeah, so if you're interested in it, you could always check it out at some point. I'll try and drop a bunch of things on the description for this podcast.
Yeah,
so you
we'll
can
put a
check
link
things out.
to the Mokau bone carving page as well, and then a bunch of carvers, because why not? If you want to go check out their work,
Yeah, I'll
many cool things.
make a mental list of that.
Yeah, I can give you the links.
Thanks.
Yeah, so a little rant about that event, but we love being a part of it. Community events like that are amazing. We have been planning to try and do one in Wellington, but we don't have a team the same way Mike has a team to manage things, so it's been a little bit more difficult. But eventually we would like to, on a slightly smaller scale, I think a max of 30 people, and maybe cater it one day for beginners and then the focus for the others be on the intermediate to advanced people,
Yep.
which I think could be cool. So yeah, if you're interested about that, leave a comment, send us a message if you want to know more, but we'll share the information on some cool people to inspire you for the carving realm.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's probably it for today.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you another time.
Hope you enjoyed it. Bye.
Bye.